All right, welcome, kings and queens. Yes, I am back, and today we are talking love and marriage DC, honey. Listen, what episode are we on? Episode number 3. For the purposes of today's conversation, I am going to really focus in on Ashley and the conversation that she was able to have with her mother. And I am going to focus on the dynamics of Jamie Sr. and Jamie Jr. I'm going to really go into that. I'm going to touch a little bit on Joy and Clifton. I'm kind of picking up something. I don't know what it is. Joy does a really clever job of keeping things suppressed, but I think something's brewing there. That's the feel that I'm getting, the tone, the vibe. But I'm trying to dig a little bit deep into what and why. But Joy, great job, girl, because if I haven't been able to pick it up yet, you are a real magician. With that being said, damn, let me apologize to Jamie Jr. Buckle your seatbelt because you are about to take the ride of your life that you did not sign up for by way of you becoming your parents' storyline. And I think it's very unfair to you and your mental well-being. And I'll get more into that. But for those of you who are just tuning in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television. But most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. Before I get started, let me just say a couple of viewers reached out to me asking me would I really do an in-depth analysis and cover the Real Housewives of Potomac. That means I would have to go all the way back, y'all, and start from scratch. I only got through the 3rd episode this season just because I've been so busy with my professional life, off of YouTube and then trying to cover some of the materials that I cover. But I said all of that to say that is a yes. I am going to have to play catch up. And if y'all don't mind me trailing a little bit behind the trends and the flows of the other bloggers, it would be my pleasure to bring that commentary to you. So I'm going to spend the next couple of days catching up as much as I can. And I am going to dissect each episode, just like I would Love and Marriage Huntsville, Love and Marriage DC. I have a quick message to you, Winter. At this point, I don't think there's anything that you can say that will be able to change the dynamics between you and Arena. I think Arena has made up her mind that you are not a friend. Be it right, wrong, or indifferent, there is nothing that you can bring to her that will be favorable by way of her being open to you. So if you see that and if you know that, Winter, my recommendation is that you move on, because no matter what you say, you are going to be the bad guy. Okay. I don't think there's any right you can do. That's her side and she's sticking to it. I don't think this scene landed well because I think Arena showed up with the intention to shut you down, right? You became the bad guy. And here's why I say that. When Arena was speaking to Jamie the next day, and she was kind of giving him a recap between her conversation with Winter, Arena, you were kind of misleading unless they edited it out. I know editing can often pose a one-sided view, but I felt like you were passing the blame and the gossip off to Winter, right? When it wasn't Winter that said those things, it's somebody that knows you, that has a little bit of inside information regarding Jason, his school, or whatnot. So that's the only thing. I'm all about transparency, but it's almost like you're saying that Winter said this about your son, and she really didn't. So that's my feedback on that scene between Winter and Arena. Winter, I think you're going to have to switch it up. I said it in my last video. I think you're going to have to move out of that role. Do not allow yourself to be typecast as a bone collector or a messy girl. You're going to have to find something and find your sweet spot very quickly, something that works for you. But let me move on to Joy and Clifton. Now, I noticed that Clifton in the store, he mentioned that he started the process of working on a beard oil. And immediately, the first thing that popped in my mind is, are you working on it? Or is it like a full-on production? Has it been released? Is this something you're working on, or is this something that you have done? But if you're looking for ingredients, common sense will tell me you're working on it. So if you are working on it, my next question would be, how do you make your money? Where are you currently employed? Because I understand the difference between working on something, but as a viewer, I want to know what you do for a living. I'm just curious. I want to know how you pay for your house. And typically, if we were like looking at this thing as Clifton being, and this is not a negative when I say I want to know about you. I want to know about you as a reality persona. Who are you as a man? What is it that Joy can look forward to having you as her husband? How are you going to provide for her? All of that good stuff. And I don't feel like I really know that. And if I miss that, I most certainly apologize. But I hear you're working on something. But in the meantime, how do you cover your life? How do you support yourself? If you were an everyday man, I would say that's none of my business. But you're not an everyday man. You are on reality television. So I want to know a little bit more about you, Clifton. All right. So I've been paying very close attention to Joy, and it's by design because I did not cut for Joy, nor did I really take a liking to her personality and the way she positioned herself on Ready to Love. Okay. So that's why I've been paying really, really close attention to her. And Joy, I feel like there's a deeper message behind you not wanting a wedding per se. Okay. My second thing is this where you're going with your storyline for this year? And it's neither here nor there, but I want to make sure that I'm tracking and I'm following you. Okay. What's the point? Initially, when Joy started off talking to Clifton, this is where I was. I was like, what's the point of her not wanting a wedding? What's the real reason behind it? Okay. Because this is her second time mentioning this. So what's really going on? And then I also wanted to know, is there a disconnect, Joy, between you and Clifton? Because there are subtle hints of something that's coming through. And actually, it's coming from you, Joy, not him. Okay. So why is this wedding the centerpiece between the two of you? Okay. That's what I'm focused on. Now, Joy, you ask him. So he's Clifton is a how do I want to say it before I go into what Clifton is very clever. Clifton understands the assignment to be likable, to be a knight in shining armor, to say the right thing, to show up the right way, and to be all about his woman on national television. Now, I don't know if that's who he really is, but that's what I'm picking up from him. I don't know if that's the real Clifton because, Joy, you help him. And everything, you say the right things, you smile on cue, you laugh, you hug, you kiss, and all of that. But I'm going to get to the nitty gritty because here's what I'm picking up from the two of them based on Joy's commentary and her feedback and her dialogue with him. Okay. Joy asked Clifton what he wanted by way of a wedding. And as he began to explain to you, Joy, what he wants and what's important to him, you interrupted him. Okay. Now, here's the thing about that. You have to give that man enough space to give you his true feelings about what he wants. Otherwise, don't ask him. If it's really not important to you, don't pretend that it is. Because what's going to happen is y'all are going to run into communication problems later on. So this is just a little feedback based on what I caught. You shut his ass down when he started to say, well, I want a reception, I want this. And you said, F them people. I don't really want to pay for people to come to my wedding to eat for free, to drink for free. Then don't ask him. Then say that. Tell him what you want. Don't do that. Don't set him up to knock him down as a man. Okay. I think we have to be careful with that, ladies. It sets them up for failure. So Joy, you asked him a question. As soon as he began to talk and describe what's important to him, you knocked him down. And I don't even think you realized that you did it because I think it's so natural to you. So here's what I'm picking up with Joy. I think there's some emotional blockage there. I think Joy can be very empty and void. We all can be, right? It's like a survival technique, a defense mechanism, a coping strategy. I just need to figure out why. That's the part I'm trying to figure out, the why. All right. Now, I guess what I'm trying to say is Joy is missing, and she's always had this gap, in my opinion, based on how I saw her show up on Ready to Love. Joy, you're missing a little bit of sweetness and tenderness publicly. That doesn't mean you don't show it behind closed doors, but that's what you're missing to me, in my opinion. Okay. I was just about to give up on Joy, right? I was like, okay, something's off. But then she really starts to talk to Clifton and share her true feelings. And in that moment, a light bulb went off in my head and I said, okay, I got it. When she talks about her hesitation for not wanting a wedding, I finally got it, y'all. Clifton, are you a fame whore? I'm asking that for a reason. Because Joy, what it sounds like Joy is saying is that you've been able to leverage this reality TV stuff and really make it work for you publicly. But I think I heard her say she's looking for something a little bit more genuine, more authenticity, and more private moments between the two of you. She's saying you're attracted to the lights, the camera, the actions. But Joy, I'm going to put the ball back in your court. Did you not know that? You're a singer, honey. He came for you. He came for you hard. You are the lights, the camera, and the actions. And I think where you went wrong, Joy, because you said, I've already sacrificed a lot. Who told you to do that? And that's where we go wrong, women. We stop doing and being the magnet that we were when he found us. See, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and he is blessed. Who told you to stop singing? Who told you to stop traveling all around the world for a man? Now you're feeling like I've already sacrificed too much. You have. You have. See, that resentment is building up. And now he wants a public wedding. And now he wants to do this and that. See, Joy, here's the thing between you and Clifton. And you're probably going to run into some trouble if y'all don't figure out the dynamics and the balance. Both of y'all can't be the stars. And I think Clifton got you to come down so he can go up. And I don't mean that in a bad way, by money. Clifton, you can't be the star if she's the star. So there has to be a little bit of a give and take, but both of you can't be the stars. And it sounds like Clifton loves the attention. To Joy, it was a job. To Clifton, it's fulfilling. It's enlightening. It gives him the recognition. I could be completely wrong, but I thought I heard her. She didn't use all of the words I'm using, but she's saying, I want some private moments. I don't want to let the world in on everything. Okay. Yeah. So there you have it. Sounds like Clifton is in it for the full on production. So we'll be tuned in. We'll be watching the two of you. Let's move on to Ashley and her mother. Kudos to you, Ashley. Oh my God, kudos to you. I really appreciated the scenes between you and your mother. I think we need it more. It's rare that we get to witness these conversations. And also, I know your mother probably held back because of the cameras, but the little bit she gave me deeper insight. So as soon as the scene started between Ashley and her mother, I knew it was going to be a tough and a rocky scene. Let me tell you why. First off, I noticed that Ashley addressed her mother by her name. Ashley said, hello, Kimberly, not hey, mama, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm like, immediate disconnect. Number two, I noticed that Ashley's mother did not reach for her physically like a mama bear should. You know, when you haven't been to your childhood home in how many years and you come and your daughter's coming and she just wrote a book, no hug, no kiss, no embrace, none of that. The mother did none of that. So that was an immediate red flag for me. Let me say something. Dear Black moms, your toughness and your cynical ways towards your children actually breaks their hearts and it stunts their growth emotionally. And it's no wonder that Ashley linked up with Quick at such a young age because she was looking for validation by way of love. And that's not a dig at you, Ashley. I'm just giving a little bit of context as to the why. Your daughter was looking for love, ma'am. And when we fail to love our children correctly and properly, we set them up to be eaten alive in the lion's den. An unloved child becomes emotional prey for predators, aka the streets. So when you listen to a lot of these stories from folks on the streets that have gone to prison or they've just really life has given them a tough hand, have dealt them a tough hand. One of the first things they tell you is that I never felt loved as a child. And many of them are now looking for love by way of alcohol, drugs, sex, crime, prostitution, criminal activity. And if we switch it and look at today's world, they can get it by way of becoming a rapper, an athlete, uh, IG models. I mean, because it's a place for everything, right? We're giving everybody the spotlight now. There's no requirements, none of that. All of the standards have gone out the windows, but that's what happens when you have broken children that are not loved and nourished properly. So I wanted to put that out there. So as Ashley begins to describe her book to her mother then fails to affirm her for the second time. You missed the physical touch on the way in. And then the words of affirmation you refuse to give to her. Okay. The five love languages. Words of affirmation would have been beautiful in that moment, ma'am. Your daughter just told you she's releasing a book and you didn't even utter a congratulations or an acknowledgement at your daughter's achievements. Now, if you did that and production cut that off, then shame on you, production. Okay. Ashley's mother took the stance of basically leave the past in the past. In other words, we don't talk about what goes on in this household. And this has been a theme song for many generations and many years within the Black community. You know, this moment when her mom came with that defensive, leave the past in the past, it reminded me of Martell Holt. I think it was season 2. I could be wrong. I thought it was season 2 where he and Mel were standing outside and he told Melody, you should have never told the world what I did. What I do stays in our household. You don't talk about what goes on in our household. And I think part of the reason that the cast doesn't particularly like Melody on Love and Marriage Huntsville is because she's emotionally evolved. She has evolved emotionally. And she is talking about her household. And when I say her household, I'm talking about her struggles, right? She's not internalizing like a lot of them. And either that breeds admiration or that breeds contempt. So they become very contemptuous towards Melody because she has evolved emotionally. All right. As a result, they resent her out of fear of being discovered, scared that their nasty little secrets will somehow get out. Let's jump to Ashley and Alicia. I really love their relationship. Alicia is Ashley's number 2. And I'm glad that you've been there for her, Alicia, because had you not been that sounding board, she may have been successful in her attempts to take her life in the past that she shared as a teenager. So kudos to you for just being a solid ass friend, because that is so rare these days. You can ask anybody, that is so rare. But anywho, that's what I'd like to see from Melody Cherie, a real friend by her side without her having to have these forced interactions with Kimmy and Stormy, women that are not there for her at all. Maurice has publicly said Kimmy's not her friend. So I'm more inclined to believe your husband because that's the person you pillow talk with, Kimmy. Stormy's mom has said, basically let us know they ain't checking for Melody. So I would love to see Melody bring on a number two, one of her good girlfriends, and really see her in a good friendship role, right? Um, let's jump back to Ashley and her mother. Ashley's mom, in my opinion, she, I don't know, this lady, I'm trying to be nice because this is somebody's mother, but she really triggered me because she said something that was so far off and so left field. She said, you was a grown woman at age 16. And I almost reached through that camera to slap her. And I know that's mean. How do you refer to your own daughter as being a grown woman at age 16? That really triggered me because that's how young girls get hurt. That's how they get abused sexually and molested. When mothers like this describe them as being grown women. Really, ma'am? Y'all, the psychology of all of this is groundbreaking. But it's not at the same time because these are the nasty secrets and the very, very toxic conversations that we have in our communities. This is what breaks children, boys and girls, because you refuse to recognize her, affirm her as a child. So that's the third time you've refused to affirm your child. You somehow in your head, you were this 16-year-old girl is a woman to you? Okay, make it make sense because it really doesn't. I'm going to tell you this. Ashley definitely did not get what she needed from her mother because her mother did not view her as a child to nurture. So you were not there for her. Ashley, we believe you. I believe you. I know you're not making it up based on your mother's response because she says you was a 16-year-old woman. So we knew you weren't giving her the love, the attention, the reverence, the guidance and the direction that she needed as a child because you was looking at a grown woman in your eyes, ma'am, and she was only 16. Okay, let me move on. If that's not a broken way to think about your child, I don't know what is. I feel like her mother has made a story up in her head to be able to justify her behavior as a mother who's not there for her child. Ma'am, you can't justify it. You abandon your child mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And your argument of positioning a 16-year-old girl to be that of a grown woman is asinine to me. I'm going to start calling it out, y'all. I'm not holding back no more in 2023. If you get on reality television and you come on broken and you're being rewarded for broken, we're going to hold you accountable in the palace. We're going to talk about it because I think these conversations can be very healing and therapeutic if we keep it 100. And that's what I'm going to start doing. Okay. Let's see. But I do have a little bit of sympathy for Ashley's mom. And this is where I'm going with this. I wonder if Ashley's mother was forced to be a woman at an early age. Do y'all get my drift? I wonder if her resentment toward Ashley could be because maybe her childhood was taken away from her. Do y'all get what I'm saying, ladies and young men that may have been taken advantage of as children? So I'm wondering, is that the angle that she's come from? Because could something may have happened to her and her mother or her parents or her caretaker showed her no empathy, no protection? So to her, that's all she knows. And that's what happens, y'all. They call it with those generational curses and that shit that we pass on to children and expect them to get over it and go get married and be healthy and wholesome and decent. No, the buck starts with you. So when you pass the torch, we need you to pass off something healthy. It's not too late for us though, because these kind of conversations open up the door for us to be able to say, you know what, we got a lot of work to do in the Black community. We've done a lot of damage. We've inflicted a lot of harm on ourselves. We can't blame everybody for everything that's going on in our community. So if we start with us, I mean, we have the if we start with us, that's just a good starting place. I feel like I'm kind of rambling. Let me move on. And then her mother tried to cry, okay, and put her emotions on Ashley. Ma'am, I need you to hold the line. I need you to hold the line. This is Ashley's moment to speak with you. You can no longer continue to torture her emotionally. You went on to refer to her as a bad child. It's like every dagger that you shoot at this girl, and if it doesn't land, you got more. It's almost like you're like, I got more where that came from. I'm not going to hug you. Okay, that didn't work. You know what? You was a 16-year-old grown woman. Okay, that didn't work. You was bad. That didn't work. Like, come on. When does it stop? But this is nothing new. This is nothing new. I'm glad Ashley's speaking up. And when I say this is nothing new within the community, that's what I mean by that. The reverse psychology is horrible. You called her a bad girl. That's like calling a child fast when she comes to you or he comes to you to tell you something has happened to him and you put it back on them. Okay. Just the ignorance of it all. And then, in my opinion, she pulls the black mama card like Miss Wanda has done and continues to do with the you are my child and I'm the mama attitude. All of that, right? All of those antics. And then she didn't stop there. She said, you were very difficult. You were very difficult. But in spite of that, I was still there for you. Y'all, come on now. To hear that come from your mother and you wonder why Ashley struggles with depression. I just want y'all to let that seep in. All of those insults that her mother hurled at her on camera. Imagine if the cameras were not around. But anywho, I know this may have stunted Ashley's growth emotionally. Her mother refuses to free her. And what I mean by freeing someone, Ashley needs to be freed by her mother. A simple apology would free her to grow emotionally, but her mother refuses to give that to her. So Ashley, sometimes you get on my nerves, but I stand for you in this moment. And I'm really glad that you found the courage to be able to talk about this. Jamie Sr., we're going to end it with you. You really need to have a seat and look at yourself in the mirror. You have failed your family horribly, and you continue to do so. You continue to do so, sir. I don't know what it is about your older son that causes you to become so vile, negative, and toxic, but there is something seriously wrong with you, and you really need to talk to somebody. As a matter of fact, you should not be on reality television. The shit that you said about your son, you should be ashamed of yourself. You've been bullying your son since we first met you. I am not saying that your son is an honor student. I am not saying that your son is this perfect child or perfect young man. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, sir, it starts with you. And if you don't like the product, then you got to go back and figure out where you went wrong. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of this, when you think about YouTube and the conversations about relationships and traditional men and manosphere and modern women versus traditional women. Oh, no, sir, you had a very traditional household. You ruled with an iron fist and you still effed up your son. So that's your fault. That's on you, sir. You ruined your son, traditional man, because your wife said that you were a traditional man last year. You said that you run your household, okay? And you failed everybody. And what you do is you want to punk your son and attack him and beat him down every chance you get. And then you wonder why he's not this rising star. And as a matter of fact, if I didn't know any better, I would say subconsciously you keep him imprisoned under your foot to ensure that he amounts to nothing. Because what if you really gave him what he needed by way of proper mental health support? Your son has been struggling with mental health issues from age 16 to 26, and you sit back and have done nothing. Shame on you. He's done nothing to help his son who's struggling with mental health issues, and the best that you can come up with is he's looking for attention. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. And just to think that you were on a police force, okay? If you can't pour into your son and protect and serve your son, how in the hell did you protect and serve the community and other people's sons and other people's daughters? There is certain shit you just should not say. And you crossed the line when it came to your own blood. Explain that to me. How can you not hold the line for a 16-year-old? You said it started when he was 16. How come? Okay, he's a child. They do stuff. They do as teenagers. But where were you, father, grown man? How did you ensure that as a father, you took the reins to get him back on the right track? And you continue to assassinate this young man time after time. You have torn him up on the inside. And a lot of his affliction comes by way of you. He don't want to be here because you've amounted him to nothing. You've starved him emotionally. And anything you starve will die. It will crumble. It will stop being productive. And you think it's cute to say that he's saying that he don't want to be here because he wants attention. There's a lot of ways he can get attention. He's talking to his mother privately to say he's asking for help. He's asking for love. He's asking for support. You some kind of wonderful. But it amazes me that Carlos King, you tend to find the most bruised, battered men that are struggling psychologically. Carlos, I'm not going to say you do that on purpose. That's not where I'm going with this. There's a theme with the men that you've chosen as your leading kings for your shows. Jamie, Martell, Glenn, Maurice. Who else, y'all? I'm forgetting somebody. The rest of them are quiet enough. At least they got enough sense to be quiet, right? So that we can't detect their shit. But Carlos, you managed to pick the most broken souls by way of men, and then you elevate them and you give them a platform and you dress them up by way of reality television. Listen, I can't make this stuff up. That was horrible to hear come out of your mouth, Jamie Sr. That was horrible. That you feel like it's okay to depict and paint your son like that on national television. You'll never be able to take that away. He'll have to hear that shit over and over and over again. Jamie Jr., I am sorry to you. I am sorry that your father is so broken that he doesn't have the heart to hear you nor receive you. But one thing I can tell you, young man, is it's never too late to start. If you could just pick your head up and look forward and ask God to heal you inside and out and ask God to step in as your father, I guarantee you he will turn your life around. And that's my hope for you. That's my hope for you.